What's going on, guys? Miatas man here, and getting ready to do something I'm a little scared to do. First timer here. I'm going to be compressing my springs to rebuild to do new shocks. So here goes nothing. This is probably going to be a multi-part video because I'm going to get the springs powder coated, doing it nice, just basically factory replacement, and then I'll have a section where I install them. But here goes nothing. Whew, that's a workout. Pro tip, don't use a box end wrench on these because it'll get stuck. If the spring comes over, it'll cap it off and you can't get your wrench off. Ask me how I know. Especially a ratcheting wrench. What's going on, guys? A few days later after our last clip here, and I got my stuff back from the powder coater. The springs came out unbelievable. Did these in an Applebee red, and I also had included with my Paco strong arms. These were originally stainless with a little bit of rust on them. They came out beautiful. On top of that, I also just had a little extra thing done. I did my hood prop rod. Now this thing came out sweet. Tiny detail, you know, but next time we'll start assembling those coils. See where it goes from there. Alright guys, so right here I actually found out that you have to cut all these bushings in half in order to fit your MB top hats onto NA springs, which was kind of a pain. I ended up using a razor blade. Managed to get a little battle scar along the way too, but time to compress the springs. I'm using a actual nice compressor this time because I don't want to damage this new powder coat, but here goes nothing. So first thing you gotta do, clear all this out. It'll make things a lot easier to work around. Okay, so the next part you're going to want to do is taking out this cover right here, which is just a few 10mm bolts, which hop on that right now. Alrighty, so you got, what is it, 1, 2, 3, and 4 10mm bolts. I'm already missing one, so. And there we have it. Wow, that's dirty back there, huh? So now, we gotta put the car on jacks. Alrighty, so there we have it, up in the air. Next up, get those wheels off. Okay, so basically, I'm gonna record one side for the front and rear because basically everything is exactly the same, just mirrored over to the other side. So, same thing, take the wheel off of this side, take the wheel off that side. Everything from here on out that I explained will work for both sides. So, alright, so next we're gonna disconnect our lower rear sway bar. Which, for this one, it should be two 14mm bolts. Let's see if we have any luck with this. Hey, there we go. Get some of that nice hidden zinc coating. Oh yeah, gotta love it. Thanks, Mazda. So, disconnected. Now we're gonna take a 17mm, hop on this lower bolt. There we have it. More zinc coating. Love it. We got that disconnected. We're gonna hop back up top, and should be two 14mm bolts up in the trunk. Go right to the top of the spring. Now it's gonna be a little hard to see, but there's two back here. Might need an extension. I think I do. So here's a better example. The passenger side is a lot easier to get to and view. Basically, you just got two 14mm bolts that are on the top hat of the spring, and you just want to loosen those up. Alrighty, so next up, you can actually loosen up your bolts, but I don't recommend it because it can throw off your alignment. What I've seen the best thing to do is stand on your hub just to make enough room to get this out. And basically, you repeat the same thing, putting it back in.
I'm going to put my full weight on it. There you go.
There we have it. One out. Now, just in case you have any mix-ups, the rear is much shorter than the front. I feel like it's pretty telltale, but at the same time, you never know. Put these in the back, you're gonna be riding real high. I had those on my lifted Miata, fronts and the rears. So, install just as easy as plopping her in there. Now you're going to want to hop back up top now that your spring's in, and throw your 14mm nuts back on the top end. Alrighty, wheels back on, and we'll drop it in the next clip and see how she looks. As you can see, it's a mammoth gap. You got to drive the car around a little bit to let the bushings kind of settle in. I'm sure this is obviously going to go away a little bit. It's monster truck status, which I know the car is not going to be. I'm sure after a little bit of beat in, it'll definitely settle down a little bit, but overall it's factory Bilstein suspension anyway, so I don't plan on it going stupid low. It's definitely gonna be more than this though. But on to the front. Alrighty, so basically the front is very similar to the rear, although some people have problems with getting this out. Same thing, two 14s up top, you get your 17 down here. Sway bar end link, we'll hop on that, and we'll get right into it. Alrighty, so we're going to hop on this one with the 17. Actually, this is a double end bolt. So I'm going to need two 17s for that, which I'll grab right now. And we'll hop onto the sway bars. Alright, so next we're going to hop onto the sway bar, which both ends should be a 14 if you have factory. Okay, so hop up top and undo your 14s. Now that everything underneath is all set. Due to clearance issues with factory struts, sometimes you can't get them out all the way. It's kind of a pain to do it the same method as I just showed you in the rear. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to undo this top ball joint so that way the rear can swing lower. That way I can just pop it out, and I'll put the new one in, hook the top ball joint back up, and it should be smooth sailing. There we go.
Watch your fender.
Success. Alrighty, so after a little struggling, we undid the ball joint on the lower there. Now one thing, when you swing this out, I learned this by mistake. You want to swing the bottom of this way, so the top comes out this way. If you try to do it out this way, you'll never make it out. It's a tight fit. Alrighty, so we got the top hat bolts tightened up, lower mounts tightened up. We got our ball joint back together with the pin in. Sway bar switch back on. Now to just throw the tire back on. Then repeat for the other side. So lesson learned from the last side. If you do need to remove your ball joint, you don't have a pickle tool. I went kind of the caveman status and hit the bottom of the ball joint up. Due to my own knowledge, if I just screwed up the threads on the other side, I managed to get it to go back on. But leave this castle nut on slightly and hit that with the hammer, so that way you don't damage the threads anymore. That way you can get it free. Okay, so like I said before, we got monster truck fitment here. I'm gonna have to take it for a drive a little bit, and basically it might even take up to a week to let the suspension all settle in and everything, go hit some bumps. But for now, it's not bad. I'm just hoping it rides a lot better, because I had some blown out struts before. Alright, here goes nothing. Difference yet, but I'm sure once I get to like some bad roads, I'll be able to feel it. Right now it just feels a little tall compared to what it usually is. Guys, as you can see, it's settled in a little bit. I don't have that monster truck fitment anymore, thank God. It is still a little high. It's factory spec, you know. It's not I'm not doing coilovers or going for the low life or anything like that, but it does definitely take the bumps better now. And through the togue, it's a little more tight, which I like. So like, subscribe and share, and I'll catch you in the next one.